No man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus. Look around. The world is drowning in excess. Too much food, too much pleasure, too much distraction. We are more connected than ever, yet more isolated. More entertained, yet more empty. More indulged, yet more restless. Why? Because we have become addicts. Not just to substances, but to comfort, to indulgence, to the things that promise pleasure but steal our strength. And the worst part, most people don't even realize they're addicted. Addiction isn't just the man who drinks himself into oblivion or the gambler who loses everything at the casino. It's the person who can't sit in silence without reaching for their phone, the one who drowns themselves in food to escape boredom, the one who seeks validation online instead of meaning in the authentic world. These addictions won't ruin you overnight, but slowly, day by day, choice by choice, they will erode your discipline, your focus, and your potential. Here are 6 destructive addictions you should never overindulge in. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps out, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Now, let's keep going. 1. Gluttony, the addiction to excess. Food is one of life's greatest pleasures, but it is also one of the easiest traps to fall into. Unlike other vices, overeating isn't frowned upon in the same way as drinking excessively or gambling. Instead, it's encouraged. Celebration, feast. Sad, comfort food. Bored, grab a snack. It's one of the few addictions people joke about, but the consequences are no laughing matter. Gluttony is not just about obesity or physical health, it's about control. When you can't say no to an extra plate, when you eat for entertainment instead of nourishment, you are surrendering to excess. You are prioritizing short-term pleasure over long-term well-being, and over time, it seeps into other areas of your life, making you weaker, more indulgent, and less disciplined. Ancient wisdom warned against this. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort, occasionally fasting or eating bland food to prove they could control their desires. They understood that true strength comes from self-restraint, not indulgence. Marcus Aurelius himself wrote, "You could enjoy a fine meal, but you could also enjoy just bread and water." The key is knowing that both are enough. Yet today, food is everywhere. Not only do we eat more, but we eat worse. Highly processed, artificially flavored, and filled with empty calories, modern food is designed to be addictive. It's not just about taste, it's engineered to override your brain's natural signals. You don't eat until you're satisfied, you eat until you're stuffed. Then, somehow, you still find room for dessert. And what's the result? You feel sluggish. Your energy crashes, your mind dulls, you lose the sharpness, the drive, and the control that discipline brings. You start living to eat, instead of eating to live. The real danger of gluttony isn't just weight gain, it's that it conditions you to always give in, to never delay gratification, to always take the easy pleasure instead of the hard path. If you can't control what you put in your mouth, how can you control what you do with your life? Fasting, mindful eating, and moderation aren't just about staying in shape, they are about reclaiming control. Because the ability to say no to food, to temptation, to excess, is the foundation of strength in every other area of your life. So the next time you reach for that extra serving, ask yourself, do I need this, or am I just giving in? 2. Sex, the chase that never ends. Sex is one of the most powerful forces in human nature. It is the foundation of life itself, a source of pleasure and a deep expression of intimacy. But like fire, when left uncontrolled, it consumes everything in its path. The problem isn't sex itself, it's obsession. It's the endless chase for more, the constant hunger that never truly satisfies. History is littered with the stories of men and women who had everything: power, wealth, influence, only to lose it all because they couldn't master their desires. From kings who waged wars over forbidden lovers to leaders who crumbled under scandals, lust has proven time and time again to be a silent destroyer. It doesn't strike suddenly. It creeps in, slowly rewiring your mind, turning what should be an intimate connection into an unquenchable thirst. At first, it starts small, maybe just a little indulgence here and there, a flirtation, a fantasy, a late-night search for something stimulating. But indulgence feeds desire, and desire, when left unchecked, becomes a master. It shifts from an occasional pleasure to a daily craving, A few minutes turn into hours, and before you realize it, your energy, focus, and motivation are drained, not by anything external, but by your own endless pursuit of pleasure. The illusion is that each time will be the last, that one more indulgence will be enough. But lust doesn't work that way. It's a bottomless pit. The more you feed it, the deeper you sink. And just like any addiction, tolerance builds. What once excited you no longer does. You need more, something new, something riskier, something more extreme. And the cycle continues. But here's the harsh truth. Chasing pleasure doesn't bring fulfillment. It brings exhaustion. It dulls your ambition, weakens your willpower, and blinds you to greater purpose. Ancient Stoics warned against being ruled by desire, not because they were against pleasure, but because they understood that true freedom comes from self-control. Think of the greatest minds, the most disciplined individuals in history. They didn't let lust control them. They directed that energy elsewhere, toward building, creating, mastering their craft. They understood that desire can be a force for destruction or a force for greatness, depending on who is in control. Ask yourself, are you using your desires, or are they using you? Because in the end, the strongest person is not the one who indulges in every pleasure, but the one who can walk away from it. 3. Gambling, the illusion of reward. Gambling is a fascinating addiction. It's built on the promise of quick riches, a rush of adrenaline from risk, and the dream of an easy way out. You walk into a casino, buy chips, and take your seat at the table. You feel the excitement as the dealer shuffles the cards, or the machine starts to spin. In that moment, you're not thinking about the money you're spending. You're focused on the thrill. This is where gambling lures you in. The promise of instant gratification, of wealth, of success, of power, tempts you into playing the game. But this is the illusion. Gambling tricks the mind into believing that a win is just around the corner, that if you keep playing, your luck will turn. This is the essence of the gambler's fallacy, the belief that after a streak of losses, a win is due. In reality, each roll of the dice or shuffle of the cards is independent. Statistically speaking, your chances of winning don't improve the longer you play, but the temptation to keep going becomes more powerful. The truth is, gambling is designed to make you lose. Casinos, sportsbooks, and online platforms are all engineered with one goal: to take your money. They have the odds stacked in their favor. The house always wins. You might win occasionally, and that's part of the trap. That win feeds your belief that it could happen again. The rush of hitting the jackpot, the dopamine hit from winning, is addictive. But the wins are fleeting. For every gambler who hits the big prize, there are thousands more who walk away empty-handed, having lost far more than they ever gained. But the problem doesn't stop at the financial loss. It's the toll it takes on your mental health and your relationships. Gambling addiction is often a silent one. It doesn't come with bruises or outward signs, but the stress, the anxiety, the shame, it builds up over time. It might start small, a bet here, a game there, but soon it grows. You start betting more to recoup losses, spiraling deeper into the cycle of chasing that high. And that's where the real danger lies. You're not just gambling with money, you're gambling with your peace of mind. The addiction starts to consume every part of your life. Your thoughts become consumed with the next bet, the next game. You start to isolate yourself, hiding your losses from friends and family. You might even start telling yourself lies. It's just a few more bets and I'll make it all back. The deeper you go, the more you start to rationalize your behavior. You convince yourself that you're in control, that it's just a form of entertainment, that the next win is just around the corner. But in reality, you're no longer gambling for fun. You're gambling to fill a void, to escape something in your life that feels unmanageable. But no win will ever truly fill that void. When the buzz wears off, the emptiness will still be there. This cycle of gambling, winning briefly, losing and chasing the win again, is exhausting and ultimately self-destructive. Think about the long-term consequences. Every dollar you lose to gambling is a dollar that could have been invested, saved, or used to improve your life in more meaningful ways. It might be your rent money, your children's education fund, or your savings for the future, all gone in the pursuit of a fleeting moment of thrill. The financial strain can push you into debt, lead to borrowing from friends or family, and even cause you to resort to illegal or desperate measures to fund your addiction. But it's not just the money, it's the impact on your relationships. Trust erodes when a gambler hides their losses or borrows money to keep playing. Loved ones suffer as they watch you spiral, helpless to stop the destructive path you've chosen. Family and friendships can crumble under the weight of your addiction. The emotional cost is often higher than the financial one. And let's not forget the psychological effects. The constant stress, the roller coaster of emotions, the dread of a loss that might send you deeper into the hole. It wears you down. Over time, it can lead to depression, anxiety, and a feeling of powerlessness. You might feel trapped, like you can never escape the cycle of hope and despair. Gambling, when taken to extremes, turns into a battle of willpower. But without intervention, that battle is one that most people lose. Treatment is possible, but it requires acknowledgement of the problem, support from loved ones, and a strong commitment to change. So the next time you find yourself at a table, in front of a slot machine, or on an online betting app, ask yourself, is this really the life I want to live? 4. The phone, your digital leash. The phone in your pocket was initially created to connect you to friends, family, and work. It was supposed to make your life more efficient, not more enslaved. Yet over time, we've let it become more of a leash than a tool. The device that once served us now holds us captive, and here's the shocking part. We let it. Think about it. How many times do you check your phone in a day? How often do you catch yourself reaching for it without thinking? The habit of looking at your phone becomes so automatic that it feels like a reflex, something you do without considering. And yet, every time you unlock that screen, you give away a little piece of your focus, your energy, and your time. The dopamine hit you get from a notification, whether it's a text, a like, or a news alert, is addictive. It's the same kind of dopamine rush a gambler gets when they hit a winning streak. But here's the reality. These hits are shallow. They don't lead to anything lasting. The momentary pleasure is fleeting, and in the long run, it only serves to make you crave more. This constant cycle of checking, refreshing, and scrolling turns into a mental hamster wheel that you can't escape from. What's worse is that the more you feed this addiction, the less present you become in your real life. How often do you find yourself mindlessly scrolling through social media while sitting with friends or family? You're physically there, but mentally? Not so much. Those moments, the ones that should be filled with connection, are robbed from you by the very thing that was supposed to bring people together. We've become addicted to the idea of staying connected, but this so-called connection is often shallow and one-dimensional. We're building relationships online while letting our real-world interactions fall apart. It's ironic, isn't it? We're more connected than ever, yet more disconnected from the people right in front of us. And don't even get me started on the endless cycle of notifications. From emails to social media alerts, each ping demands your attention. It's like a series of tiny distractions that slowly pull you away from your tasks, your goals, and your priorities. Every ping is a tiny interruption in your life, and while one notification may seem harmless, imagine how many of them add up throughout the day. This constant bombardment of notifications and distractions is literally rewiring our brains. Research shows that our ability to focus is shrinking. We've gone from focusing for hours at a time to struggling with even 15-minute blocks of concentration. Why? Because we're training our brains to seek constant stimulation. This addiction doesn't just affect your focus, it affects your productivity, your mental well-being, and even your ability to think deeply. The phone is designed to keep you hooked. Every app is created with the sole purpose of grabbing your attention. The red notification bubbles, the infinite scroll, the algorithms tailored to keep you engaged, they're all part of a system designed to make you spend more time staring at your screen. It's not a mistake that these features exist. They're intentionally engineered to keep you coming back, again and again. But here's the kicker. Every minute you spend mindlessly scrolling through your phone is a minute you're not living your life. The present moment, the one you'll never get back, slips away with each swipe and tap. While you're watching others live their lives online, your own life is passing you by. And eventually you wake up and realize that years have gone by and you've missed out on meaningful experiences in the real world, all because you were glued to your screen. Ask yourself, what are you truly gaining from your phone? What is all this time spent on social media, checking emails and replying to messages doing for you in the long run? Are you building deeper relationships, fostering growth, or achieving anything meaningful? Or are you simply running on autopilot, trapped in a cycle of instant gratification? Here's an uncomfortable truth. The more you use your phone as a crutch for distraction, the more you lose your ability to be present. True connection, true creativity, and true fulfillment are found in the moments when you step away from the screen. In silence, in focus, in undistracted engagement with the world around you, it's time to take control back. Start by setting boundaries for yourself. Limit your screen time. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Start checking your phone less and being present more. The people around you deserve your full attention, and so do you. If you want to break free from this addiction, it requires conscious effort. It requires discipline. But most of all, it requires recognizing that you have the power to choose where your focus goes. Remember, you are not a slave to your phone. You were born to live in the present, not in a digital world. It's time to reclaim your time, reclaim your attention, and reclaim your life. 5. Social media, the addiction to validation. Social media has become an inseparable part of modern life. It connects us with friends, family, and ideas from all around the world. At first glance, it might seem harmless, just a tool to stay informed, share experiences, and engage with others. But for many, it becomes something far more insidious, an addiction to validation. The moment you post a photo or status update, you're not just sharing a moment of your life. You're offering it up for approval. Likes, shares, comments, they're all measures of how worthy or liked you are. Every notification is a small hit of dopamine, the same chemical released when we eat, exercise, or experience joy. It's no wonder that many people are constantly checking their phones, hoping for that next rush, that next validation. But what happens when it doesn't come? When the likes are fewer than you expected, or your post gets no attention at all? This is where the true danger lies. Social media doesn't just give us validation, it gives us the illusion of validation. This cycle of instant gratification doesn't build self-worth. Instead, it creates a constant hunger for more. You begin to measure your value not by your own standards or real-life experiences, but by the external approval of a virtual audience. This distorted self-image is incredibly toxic. And there's more. Social media creates an environment where comparison thrives. You see others posting their best moments, their vacations, their achievements, their carefully curated lives, and it feels like everyone is living a better, more exciting life than you. But here's the truth. What you see on social media is not real life. It's an edited version of it. We're all guilty of curating our best moments, filtering our photos, and sharing only the highlights. No one posts about their struggles, their failures, their moments of doubt. So when you compare your real life to someone else's highlight reel, it's easy to feel inadequate. You may begin to question your worth, your place in the world, or whether you're truly enough. This constant comparison creates a breeding ground for anxiety, depression, and dissatisfaction. In fact, studies have shown that heavy social media use is strongly linked to increased feelings of loneliness, anxiety, and depression. The more you scroll, the more isolated you feel. It's a paradox. The tool designed to connect us actually pushes us further away from meaningful, real-world connections. But it's not just about emotional well-being. Social media also has a powerful effect on your time and focus. How many hours have you spent mindlessly scrolling through your feed, only to realize hours have passed without accomplishing anything of substance? The endless distractions prevent you from engaging with the things that truly matter: your personal growth, your relationships, your goals. Time that could have been spent building your future is lost in the noise of endless posts and updates. The danger also extends to your self-discipline. Social media feeds the desire for instant gratification, which weakens your ability to delay pleasure and pursue long-term rewards. The more you get used to quick dopamine hits, the harder it becomes to focus on deeper, more meaningful work. You become trained to seek instant pleasure, which erodes your ability to put in the work that leads to lasting success. Social media is an illusion, an addiction disguised as a pastime. It's a place where the pursuit of validation often overtakes the pursuit of true self-understanding. It convinces you that your worth is determined by external approval, and it distracts you from the deeper purpose of living a meaningful life. So, how do you break free from this addiction? First, you must become aware of its grip on your life. Notice how often you reach for your phone, how many times a day you check your notifications, and how it makes you feel. Do you feel empowered and connected, or empty and anxious? Acknowledge the impact it's having on your mental health and well-being. Then, start setting boundaries. Limit your social media usage to certain times of day, or set a timer to remind yourself when it's time to step away. Unfollow accounts that make you feel bad about yourself or fuel your anxiety. Instead, curate a feed that uplifts you, that inspires you to be a better version of yourself. And finally, remember that your worth is not determined by a like, a follow, or a comment. It's determined by the kind of person you are when no one is watching. Seek validation from within, from the work you do, the relationships you cultivate, and the growth you experience. True fulfillment comes when you stop chasing virtual approval and start living authentically. The illusion of social media can hold you captive, but with awareness and intentionality, you can free yourself from its grasp. Real connection and lasting happiness are waiting for you beyond the screen. 6. The comfort trap, the slowest poison. Comfort is seductive. It's the warm blanket on a cold morning, the familiar routine that requires no effort, no risk, and no discomfort. We all crave it. It's natural. But too much comfort doesn't just stagnate you, it suffocates you. Think about it. Every time you choose comfort, you're choosing to stay exactly where you are. You're telling your mind and body that you don't need to grow, that you're fine just the way you are. And in some ways, you are fine, but you're also settling for less. The greatest achievements in history were not born from ease, but from discomfort, challenge, and overcoming adversity. If you look at the lives of the most successful, influential, and impactful people, whether they were entrepreneurs, athletes, or revolutionaries, they didn't live in comfort. They pushed themselves, sometimes to the brink of exhaustion or failure, because they knew that only through struggle could they build something extraordinary. The Stoics taught us that hardship is an opportunity for growth. They didn't see discomfort as something to avoid, but as something to embrace. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers and Roman emperors, said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, obstacles aren't things to escape, they're things to overcome. Each challenge you face is an opportunity to sharpen your resolve, strengthen your character, and achieve what others might deem impossible. Look at the world around you. The people who achieve the most often endure the greatest struggles. They wake up earlier than anyone else, push harder, fail repeatedly, and continue anyway. They choose discomfort over comfort because they know that nothing worthwhile ever comes without it. Whether it's training for a marathon, building a business from the ground up, or striving for personal improvement, none of it happens if you're too comfortable. The comfort trap is so subtle, so pervasive, that it often goes unnoticed. In fact, most people don't realize they're falling into it until it's too late. They think they're just enjoying life, but in reality, they're avoiding the discomfort that comes with real progress, and with each passing day, they slip further away from their potential. Comfort can be physical, but it can also be mental. It's that inner voice that says, "Don't push too hard today, take it easy," or "It's okay to skip the gym today, you can go tomorrow." It's that internal justification that makes you delay, avoid, or settle for mediocrity. The most dangerous comfort, though, is the comfort of familiarity. We often stay in jobs, relationships, or routines that no longer serve us, simply because they feel safe and predictable. But growth requires risk. It requires uncertainty. It requires stepping outside what you know and embracing the unknown. Real success comes from daring to face challenges head-on, whether they are mental, physical, or emotional. And to do that, you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Here's the truth. You don't need to make life harder than it is, but you can't make it easier either. You have to seek discomfort, not to punish yourself, but to unlock your potential. The greatest advancements in human history, from the discovery of fire to landing on the moon, all began with someone stepping outside their comfort zone. In your own life, what is your comfort zone? Is it your current job? Is it a relationship that's no longer fulfilling? Is it the mental patterns you've developed that tell you that where you are now is good enough? If you're not challenging yourself, you're not growing. Comfort, over time, will only breed weakness and complacency. It's a slow poison, the kind that doesn't kill you quickly, but rather numbs you until you can no longer feel the urge to strive for more. Growth demands discomfort. It demands the courage to do what is hard. It demands the ability to push through when you feel like giving up. And when you do, you'll find that the rewards on the other side are far greater than any fleeting comfort. So ask yourself, what discomfort can you embrace today? What challenges can you take on that will make you stronger, sharper, and more capable? Because the path to greatness is paved with discomfort. The more you embrace it, the more you'll realize that discomfort is not your enemy. It's your greatest ally in the pursuit of becoming the best version of yourself. Not all addictions scream for attention. Some of them are subtle, creeping into your life under the guise of normality, even productivity. Gluttony, sex, gambling, phones, social media, and comfort. They don't demand your focus all at once, but over time, they accumulate. Every small indulgence, every moment spent on these distractions chips away at your future, your well-being, and your growth. Addictions don't just steal your time, they steal your potential. They rob you of the chance to build something meaningful, to chase your true purpose. When you overindulge in anything, whether it's food, validation, or instant gratification, you're essentially trading long-term fulfillment for short-term pleasure. And while those pleasures might feel good in the moment, they don't last. They only leave behind emptiness. Think about the things you're passionate about, the dreams you have for your life. Now, think about what happens when you let these addictions take the wheel. How much time are you wasting scrolling on your phone when you could be honing your craft, building your career, or developing meaningful relationships? How much mental and emotional energy are you giving away to something fleeting when you could be investing it in things that truly enrich your life? You see, the greatest addiction of all isn't necessarily to any one of these things. It's to comfort. The allure of ease, of not rocking the boat, of avoiding the discomfort that growth demands. Comfort is the slowest poison because it doesn't feel harmful in the moment. It feels like safety, like peace. But in reality, it's the enemy of progress. When you avoid discomfort, you avoid the lessons that push you forward. You avoid the challenges that ultimately shape you into someone who can overcome any obstacle. Real progress comes from breaking free of these chains. It comes from making the hard decisions every day to rise above the easy path and choose discipline. Discipline isn't punishment. It's the ultimate form of self-love. It's the commitment to your future self, the person you have the potential to become, not the person who seeks instant gratification. The key to breaking free from these destructive addictions lies not in avoiding them completely, but in learning how to master them. They are part of life, yes, but when you let them control you, they become your master. When you control them, you become your own. So ask yourself, what are you overindulging in? What have you allowed to take priority over your growth? The answers might be difficult to face, but they are the first step toward true freedom. And once you recognize the hold these habits have on you, you can choose to rise above them, to create new habits, and to build a life that's not driven by addiction, but by purpose. Remember, success, happiness, and fulfillment aren't the result of what you can consume. They're the result of what you can create, what you can endure, and how much you're willing to sacrifice in the short term to achieve greatness in the long term. Choose your path carefully. The easy road will always be there, but it will never lead to anything worth having. Now watch this video to unlock the key to everlasting success and to achieve anything that you desire. Watch now and discover how to shift your mindset for success. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with someone who you feel needs to hear this. Thanks for watching, and remember to be stoic, always.